welcome back to the second segment of Glazov Gang. As you see, Jamie's not here. I will do the introduction and we'll see if we can get him calm and back to the show. Our gang members this evening: Rob Nelson, former Fox News host; Evan Sayet, America's #1 conservative comedian; and Tommi Trudeau. Tommy, would you like to introduce yourself?
No, I want that's irrelevant, but what I'd like to say is the reason the producer is introducing us is because Glazov blew up and he called me things and he had to be escorted out. And so that's why the producers.
Okay, let me tell you why I'm actually sitting here.
This is supposed to be a professional show.
Okay, listen. Here's the reason I'm sitting here. It's not because he said that. It's because I want to warn you.
God,
if you do this one more time, we're gonna have to ask you to leave the show. Can you calm down? Can you calm down? Stop crying like a baby?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get on with the show. I was talking. I was talking.
Ask him to leave the show.
No, I will not ask him. I will ask you. And
Yeah, his name's on the
I
show.
didn't do anything.
I want to ask you a question. Can you stay calm? Can you stop crying? Can you be a little bit more mature? We need to move on with the show. First, welcome back to the show.
It's nice to be here with you, Annie.
Thank you.
We like having you.
Thank you. Okay, Tommy, I'm gonna have your question. Okay? You're good? Calm? Ready? Okay. The question is, do you think Islam is a growing threat or a dying threat?
Islam is a dying threat. And the reason for that is we can get back down to business and be professional here. The reason for that is the Muslim immigration to the West that everyone is so afraid of is actually an act of desperation. The West is Noah's Ark, and Muslims have fled here. And that's the thing that has been pulled on the Muslims of the third world that they are not aware of, is the West is Noah's Ark, and the elite of Islam have fled into Noah's Ark. The reason why is, throughout the third world, resources are strained to their limits, especially in the poorer nations, which are predominantly Muslim. We are about to cross over the threshold where we won't be able, well, the third world will not be able to produce enough food to feed everyone. The oceans around the third world are fished out. The trees are deforested.
Well, we got a population problem. That's apparent. And Muslims are populating at like twice the rate of
the Pew Research
else.
Foundation said globally the Muslim population is forecast to grow at about twice the rate of the non-Muslim population. And over the next 2 decades, it's about to explode. Right now, resources are at the brink.
Okay, the reason, first of all, that the Muslim population level is at the numbers it is by comparison to the others. Look, here's what happened in Europe. Basically, Europe murdered all their Jews. They converted their Christians to secularism. Europe is now secular. All right, so there's really the only people who have any religious beliefs are the Muslims. And people who are religious tend to have more children. They tend to marry more often. They tend to have a larger family. It's just demographically a reality throughout the course of time. So Islam is really the only population, especially in Europe. Look at Mark Stein's book, America Alone. You just look at the pure demographics. Yeah, Islam is growing, not because people are seeing the light and joining Islam. No, it's because it's the only population. And by the way, Europe being a pyramid scheme, socialism being a pyramid scheme, they need each generation to be larger than the one that came before it. Well, having killed off all their Jews and having converted all their Christians who are only having 2 kids, where are they going to get the next generation that's bigger? They have to import Muslims.
Right. Well, wait 1 second. What is your thesis statement, Tommy, that because there's not enough food to feed the Muslim population that...
There will soon be not enough food to feed the massive Muslim population in the third world.
But that's why they're migrating to the West and
they're
taking
not
over
all.
here.
Just a very, very small minority are fleeing to what you could call
So what's going
Noah's
to happen?
Ark.
What's going to happen? Like there's a
Massive,
food shortage in Egypt, for instance.
massive starvation, and the teeth of Islam, the teeth of the monster, is not Western Muslims, it's the Muslims in the third world. Those Muslims are going to be suffering massive
What's your
starvation.
conclusion?
Islam is not a threat because throughout the third world it's going to starve itself to death.
Okay, Rob?
That's an interesting philosophy. I think there's a threat. I mean, you know, this whole question of a threat.
But what do you think that the food shortage is going to do? Do you think?
Look, I don't know. We're overpopulated in this planet. There's no question.
Yes, you said there's no question. I question it, so there is a question.
According to the Pew Foundation,
come on,
according to the Pew Foundation, the average.
I think at some point there's going to be massive famines.
Time out. Wait.
The world's not over.
Stop.
No, it's not necessarily a given.
Well, stop for a second. That's 3 times now you've engaged in a fallacy called truth by declaration. You can say to me, "Ah, come on, it is," but there's absolutely no scientific evidence that it is. For example, they've been saying
May I
finish now?
Yeah, but you just said there's no scientific
That's correct. And let me give you an example.
finish.
Let me give you an example. We were supposed to have less food per person by this point because there are going to be so many people. But in reality, because technology has become such, because we've learned how to clone certain things, and scientific advances have made it that, no, there's not less food per person on this planet now. So there's absolutely no indication, and that's been out, that the reason there's starvation in Egypt or elsewhere is because when you try to grow food there, they'll destroy it because you didn't follow Islamic law to the letter. There's corruption there, so the food doesn't get past the handful of very, very rich people. The reason there's starvation in much of the third world has nothing whatsoever to do with
This is a fact.
Compared to
This is a
Africa?
fact.
Come on.
This is a
Africa,
fact.
You're going to tell me the starvation in Africa is because people are cutting down the crops because they're not planting?
This is
No,
a fact.
a good deal of it. One more point, and I'll give it to you.
All right.
For example, we have tried how many times over and over again. There's a humanitarian disaster happening in Africa, and we send over tons of food. And what happens is
Well,
the
yes.
warlords take it.
Exists, but that's
not just
separate
corruption.
problem.
It's
No,
a huge
yes, but
problem.
I'm saying, but they're fundamentally the fact that we have to send food over is because there isn't enough food there.
That's right.
No,
because-
it's also because they have failed economies and
Yeah, of course they have failed economies.
This is-
They're eating up resources.
This is-
Okay, wait, Tommy, what do you think about
The vast- the
what is
vast-
that?
forests in Africa?
No,
The
I'm
fact-
saying in terms of
okay.
the
Gentlemen, let
rest of
Tommy go.
America.
Tommy,
The fact is, the majority of the population lies in the third world. In 1875, the world population, 1875 wasn't that long ago. You can still see photographs from 1875. Modern technology was just beginning. Wasn't that long ago. World population was under 1 billion. Within the next couple of years, we're going to cross over to 7 billion mouths to feed on this planet. And according to the Pew Research Foundation, the average Muslim woman, not the average Muslim family, the average Muslim woman, which there can be several in one family, has an average of 5 children.
No, wives, 4 or 5 wives.
Has an average of 5 children. Well, times 5 by 3 wives in one household, 15 children. That's the average. One woman could have as many as 10. And they also give news which appears to be slightly good, but it's not good at all, that within 20 years, the average Muslim woman will have an average of 4 children. Well, that's still a mind-boggling rate of overpopulation. The resources throughout the third world will be depleted very soon.
Okay, fair enough, but it's going to cause mass emigration, and there's going to be a demographic problem in the West.
Only so many people can fit into the ark. Only so many people.
Evan, go ahead.
Oh no,
What do you think?
the arguments laid out on both sides. I'm not overly concerned about overpopulation. We've been hearing, we've been hearing about it since, for as long as I can remember, since the 60s. And it just seems that as the population grows, the technology and the ability to deliver these things, and in fact we're better off. Look, America, the problem here is obesity. You know, we're better off in Europe and in the West in general, because look, the technologies that we have, Israel turned desert into food. We turned desert into cities. So the fact that Africa is still desert, there's got to be something else besides the fact of the fact that
Hey, just a sec. 1 second. Why are you shaking your head? What's wrong?
Well, I just wish Rob would take a stand for something instead of riding just the rail down the center.
At least
because
he's riding the rail.
That's the safe zone. Step out into the danger zone and take a stand.
So you like
for
me better than you like
something.
him? You like
You
me,
think I'm
Tommy.
not taking a stand?
Yes, I do.
You think I'm not taking a stand?
Yes, you're trying to please everyone. That way you avoid any criticism.
Okay. What do you want me to take a stand on? Give me an issue.
Take a stand on the presidential election. Who are you for?
Both parties, both candidates are pathetic. We should
That's a
not.
cop-out.
You want me to take a
That's
stand?
a
I'll give you my
cop-out.
stand.
That's a
Here's my
cop-out.
stand. No,
That's
it's
a
not a
cop-out.
cop-out. It's a cop-out to say that you have to vote for Obama because he's the choice. You have to vote for one of them. You know what? What if all, you want me to take a stand? What if all of America said, we're so fed up with the fact that all these guys are doing the same thing just in different colors, red versus blue, and we're going to vote for none of you. And so then one of them wins with 7% of the popular vote.
You're so
what kind of
diplomatic, I
mandate
think
is that?
you're going
you know?
to run for
How about that?
political
How about
office
don't
because
vote
God
unless you
forbid
get the
you
right
should
person?
All right,
anybody.
first of all, a good many people do that, which is why what percentage of Americans vote? 35%
No, they
of them sit
go.
home.
They sit home out of apathy. But I'm saying if people actively made a protest of saying, you know, like we're going to vote for ourselves or whatever, what are you going to smoke a bong now?
Ladies and gentlemen,
That's taking a stand at least.
thank you very
Okay,
much.
I'm right. I want to take stands.
We'll be back on the third
No,
segment of the
I want
Glazov Gang
stands.
tomorrow
I'm
night.
ready to
Join
take
us then.
stands.